to show you now some live pictures from Iranian state television, which is reading out a recorded statement by the supreme leader on the occasion of the Persian New Year. This is the second statement by Mojtaba Khamenei since he was appointed. It's being read on television. Let's listen.
What has happened in the time? We are now about to approach the year 1405. We need to say something. We have said bye to our dear guest, the holy month of Ramadan, this holy month that during which your hearts went to Allah Almighty to ask His mercy, and Allah Almighty has bestowed on us His mercy, and Allah Almighty has bestowed on us the good mercy that we need and that we deserve. The people will be strong, we will be strong, and when it comes to your wishes and your aspirations, I want to assure that the more we know ourselves, the more achievements we will be able to do and to achieve. During the month of Shawwal, we are waiting the gift of Allah Almighty, and I hope Allah Almighty, after your presence day and night, will give us the good gift that we deserve. After the ceremony of Al-Quds Day, I am sure Allah Almighty, and I ask Allah Almighty to bestow His mercy on us and to make our hearts happy and to make our souls happy, and to be always stronger and always aware of our message. The blessings will be everywhere in our country, will be all over the place in our country. Also, the Nowruz Eid is quite important because it carries in its core a gift from the nature, a gift from the nature that is quite connected to happiness and to joy. On the other hand, this is the first year we are living without our leader who is our martyr. We are very sad because those who left us and who got martyred, being an Iranian citizen, I can easily say that I have some martyrs within my inner circle. We are quite sad because of this, but on the other hand, we are happy very much because this time we have seen so many brides and grooms, and we wish all the best to all our people. My recommendation to you is to visit each other as we usually do these days. We need to show the greatest respect to the families of the martyr. Every district, through some coordination, can start visits to each other to honor the martyrs of the district. And the time, according to the country, is always there. We need to commit ourselves to the certain time that is decided and approved by the country. After everything, I need to tell you something in brief. First of all, I'd like to thank, a special thank to those who are in the squares and in the mosques, who are doubling their efforts to boost the social relationship, those who are in the farms, and those who are giving the services to the Iranian people, particularly the useful services to the people, and praise be to Allah Almighty, we have them amongst us. One of the paths of the enemy is to use the media. The enemy is using the media to attack the brains and minds of our people in order to hit our national unity and national security. We need to make sure that this will never happen. We need to be fully aware. We need to work hard. And my recommendation to Iranian media, despite all the different background and cultures and these things, we need in our media to stop concentrating on our weak points, because the enemy can hit us through these weak points. Again, the hope of the enemy is to make use of some economic and administrative points. Our martyr leader has said throughout the years that we need to boost our economy. And I also see that helping the economy, boosting the infrastructure, the general production that will be useful to all the people is a vital matter that we need to always be careful about in order to fight and counter the economic war launched by the enemy. We need to listen to this. The different categories of our society must be also aware of this. I have traveled with you in taxes and public services because I wanted to listen to you and to listen to your conversations. And I consider this as a real samples that are way better than a theoretical thing. And I have discovered that your words are sometimes considered criticism to the government. I have learned a lot from these conversations that I have heard from you when I am in taxes or public transportation. I also have learned from different people so many things through the squares and the streets. I hope this will be always there. I hope you will be always talking and expressing yourselves. And we have made some efforts to reach an effective formula that is positive, and we have managed to achieve this in a certain degree of success. And recently, the officials of the country will do a lot and a lot for the sake of the people through cooperation with you, the great people of Iran. And I'd like to announce the slogan of this year: the resistance of economy within our national security and our national unity. Finally, what I have said in my first statement regarding the vision of the regime when it comes to dealing with our neighboring countries, I'd like to say that seriously and honestly, despite the fact of being neighbors, we have also the Islamic religion that is spread in our region, and we have also big numbers of Iranians who are residents in some of our neighboring countries. We have the same strategic interests in the face of those who are behaving in a rude way. And all of these elements can be, either together or individually, an important element in the decisive confrontation. Our neighbors are very important to us, and I know, for example, that Pakistan, for example, is quite an important country in the viewpoints of our martyr leader, and he suffered because of the floods that have threatened the lives of the people of Pakistan. I thought and I expressed my viewpoint in so many occasions regarding this matter. I'd like our neighbors I would like Afghanistan and Pakistan to have good relations together for the sake of Allah Almighty and for the sake of not creating rifts amongst the Muslims. And I'm ready to take whatever they need in order to achieve this in Turkey, in Oman, who have good relations between themselves and with us. There were not at all any statement from Iran or any statement from the resistance that can create rifts between them. This is a tool created and used by our enemy to create problems between Iran and its neighbors. This can happen in some other countries. I have mentioned before some other points, and I hope with the help and support of Allah Almighty, and I hope we will be approaching a good year that is full of victories and full of welfare to our nation, to our neighbors.
Well, you've been watching a message marking the Persian New Year of Nowruz, message by Iran's Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, who has succeeded his father, assassinated on the first day of the Iran war. He has succeeded him as supreme leader of Iran. Now, this is the second written statement from Mojtaba Khamenei being read by the presenter on state television. That's what you heard. Khamenei has not been seen in public since the start of the war, nor has he delivered a video message, so no footage of him. Israel and the U.S. claimed that he was injured in the same strike that killed his father. Iranian leaders traditionally deliver a pre-recorded televised address to mark the new year. Joining me now in the studio is Hassan Ahmadian, an associate professor at the University of Tehran. Hassan, it's great to have you in the studio. Before we discuss the content of the message, once again, we don't actually see him. Your thoughts on that? Because there has been widespread speculation that he was injured, possibly badly injured.
Yeah, well, there are lots of rumors on that, but what we know is that everything is about security after the assassination of his father and his family, and of course other Iranian officials. So the narrative there is about his security being top state priority, and so that's what we hear. But of course, he was appointed by the Assembly of Experts, the supreme leader. They said that he was injured. In that statement that appointed him, they said that he was injured when his father and family were assassinated. So the two are not necessarily contradicting.
Right, so it's official Iranian news, and it has been put out there to the Iranian public that he's injured. Yeah. As far as the content of the message, what stands out to you? Again, it's a Nowruz message, meaning it's the Persian New Year, and the moment has just passed, so it is traditional for the Iranian supreme leader to put out a message. That is not a surprise. However, of course, the first steps of this new supreme leader in the context of this war are going to be scrutinized. What did you hear in that message? What stood out to you?
Well, I think defiance is one word that I think is overwhelming in the entire message. It's a continuation. And I think I expected that because Iran is going through a war. It's not changing its policies while being bombed. It's clinging to its plans that were planned before the war. And so he's continuing the same messaging. He named the Iranian New Year the resistance of economy that is also outstanding in continuation of the previous supreme leader's focus on a resilient economy within, rather than being sanctioned and put under immense pressure. We should build within the capacity that overcomes the pressure. He also talked about the neighbors. He said, we are sincere in that we don't have a problem, but we are facing an aggression.
Yeah. He did talk about the neighbors. He seemed to be wanting to build bridges. He said, I'm paraphrasing here, but we have Islam in common, we practice the same religion, and we have the same strategic interests. And then he seemed to be making the argument that Iran's enemies are trying to drive a wedge between Iran and its neighbors. That part of the message, from the outside looking in, one would immediately point out, well, Iran is launching ballistic missiles and drones at its neighbors. It is attacking their vital money-making energy infrastructure. So the wedge is driven between Iran and its neighbors, but you could easily argue that Iran is driving that wedge itself.
You can make that argument, but if you look at it from an Iranian perspective, the man was speaking from within the Iranian strategic debates, or based on those strategic debates, that the United States, using the space and land and the CENTCOM enterprise against Iran, is driving the wedge, and they are attacking Iran's infrastructure, forcing Iran to retaliate, is the party that is driving a wedge. He's appealing basically to or making the case to the GCC countries that these bases are not useful for our strategic interest and your strategic interests, that are colliding if we work together. That's what I heard from his message.
Yeah, but so I think the counter-argument there is that when Iran attacks Kuwait's refineries, or the UAE's economy, or Qatar's LNG export facilities, it is not attacking U.S. bases there. But we'll get back to that.